After Midnight. This is a burn on demand release, although I do have a DVD that's pressed from Australia that Umbrella released that will actually play on an American player if you just don't want a burn on demand title. Directed by Jeremy Garner and Christian Stella. You might remember, I believe Jeremy Garner is the guy that directed The Battery, him and somebody else, and I think he's also like the star of the movie. And if unless I've got them mixed up, I think it's definitely Jeremy Garner. He's like the star of this. And Brea Grant is also the other star of it, who's a girl that I've heard a bunch about. I know she's been in a lot of stuff, but coming up through the blogging industry, it seems like all the indie people I know from California always mention her. And she's been in a lot of stuff from people I know, so she's good. We'll say that. And the acting is good in this. I'm going to say that up front, because a lot of times in indie stuff, the acting isn't good, but it's good here. But let's backtrack. This is called After Midnight. The plot is basically the dude has been with this girl for 10 years at least. And then he wakes up one day and she's gone. And she left him a letter, kind of like one of them Dear John letters. So he's not taking it well. But in the process, there's a monster, an alien, or something that he swears is trying to break into his house. Now, we hear it. Of course, nobody else believes him. But throughout this movie, he's basically trying to fight this thing off while trying to reach her. And then all the while still trying to run his life as normal as he can, despite the fact that he's drinking a whole lot and things are just spiraling out of control. And everybody in town seems to think he's nuts, which includes his goofy best friends. One happens to be the sheriff, who's also the guy from Limitless, and I think he directed Limitless, I believe it was, and was it called The Resolution, which the movies kind of tie in, and he's in this, and he directed those, at least I believe he did. But nonetheless, this thing better than I thought it would be. A little slow at the front of it, but the actor is so good. And if you've seen The Battery, you know what I'm talking about. He's in a bunch of stuff. He's in Bliss, stuff like that. But he's so good, and he plays such a good character here, and you feel the emotion that he's giving off, that it doesn't really bother you. We always see backtracks throughout the movie of like how their relationship was at different times, which helps kind of fill the gaps along the way. But the thing about this one that really puts it over the hump, like there's not a lot of blood and there's not a lot of stuff in this, at least not till the end of it. But the thing is the thing that really puts it over is the last act. This thing gets really weird in a good way during the last act. Like there's things that happen that you're like, wow, I can't believe we're going here, but we're here. And it's not necessarily in a horror way. It's just odd. It's quirky and it's awkward, and it's stuff you don't expect to see in an indie horror film. But it does happen, and then other stuff happens, and you're like, wow, this is different, which is good. Um, this is from Cranked Up Entertainment, by the way. I believe that's the one doing the on-demand burning of this. Behind-the-scenes features on it, outtakes, and director's commentary. It may be on Shudder. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but it's worth checking out if you can find it. It's worth getting the burn-on-demand version if you can find it, because they did stag it, and I'm going as far as to, I was a little bit up to the high threes on it, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4. So this is a 4 out of 5 for me. If you like The Battery, you'll like this. If you like just some little weird, like quirky, I hate to use the word, but maybe that's the word you use, quirky indie horror films, then it's one you want to see. If you like stuff like Limitless and stuff like that, then check it out. It's definitely worth seeing, especially when you see what's going on and you see the resolution of that. And in between that, you see some really, really good indie acting. That's something that you don't always see. So 4 out of 5. It's burn on demand, but it's worth getting if you want to see something that's pretty cool.